Hello, good morning to all of you. Since few weeks, we are trying to learn about the introductory part of homeopathic mathematics, and in the last week we have started with the different ways of study of homeopathic mathematics. With respect to this topic, we have shared a few important things. What is the objective of this different ways of study of mathematics? Then we have also listened the interesting story of an elephant and six blind, and how the same thing happens when we try to learn mathematics. And everybody who is looking with trying to understand that elephant gets a partial view. So the same thing happens with the mathematics. Every author gives us a partial view of homeopathic mathematics according to his own experience. Then we also studied that there is no royal road to the study of homeopathic mathematics. All the ways which are there, they finally gives us the complete picture of a remedy, and all these ways are best ways. Then we have also studied the important objectives of learning these different ways of homeopathic mathematics, why it is essential to learn homeopathic mathematics in different ways. There are four basic objectives: to get knowledge of homeopathic mathematics in a simple and comprehensive way, to get the complete picture of drug pathogenesis, to remember the vast number of symptoms, and to study the drug picture of a remedy, and finally at the end of your course you should be able to apply all this mathematics to the patient. And that is the all objective of this different ways of studying homeopathic mathematics. Then we will first enlist what are the various ways of study of homeopathic mathematics, and then we'll proceed further. So basically, if you go to our college library, most of the books are related with homeopathic mathematics. If you compare the books of homeopathic mathematics, organon, and homeopathic repertory, then you will find there are more and more number of books of homeopathic mathematics. And the simple reason behind this maximum number of books on homeopathic mathematics, because there are different ways of study of homeopathic mathematics, and these different ways are followed by different authors, and finally so many authors studying mathematics in a different ways, it gives rise to the voluminous amounts of books in the homeopathic mathematics. And all these books are related to the specific method or specific way of studying homeopathic mathematics. I will first enlist these different ways of study of mathematics. Remember, it is a very important long answer question or a short answer questions will be asked on this different ways of homeopathic mathematics. So there are basically 10 ways of studying mathematics. If you refer more and more books, there are 25 ways are listed. But out of all those ways which are existing, hardly this 10 ways which I am mentioning, they are more popular and they are more widely accepted. The first is a anatomical schematic method. Second is keynote method. Third is picture type of study. Fourth is comparative method. These are the initial four methods: anatomical, keynote, picture type, and comparative method. Then therapeutic method, fifth method, physiological method, group study method, study on basis of clinical materia medica. So up to this point it becomes 8, and 2 more are there. Study on basis of repertory and computer software method of study of homeopathic materia medica. So we will study each of this method one by one, and we will study all these 10 methods with examples, and there will be one common pattern of studying this various various steps or various ways of studying on the materia medica. So for example, now all these 10 methods will be studied under this subheadings. So why I'm mentioning these subheadings? Because a short answer question, that is short note, will be asked for 5 marks on each of this method which I have just narrated, and you have to elaborate that method under this various headings. And we will also study all these methods under the same heading, so it will become easy for you to understand, and it will become easy to write in the answer paper. So these are the few common headings under which we are going to see each method. First is introduced by. Introduced by means this method who has introduced this method, which stalwart of homeopathic materia medica has introduced this method, then who has followed this method and made this method very much popular. And then third heading will be what is exactly the details of this method. Then what is the merit when you study homeopathic materia medica according to this method, what are its merits or what are its advantages, what are its demerits, and finally the examples of this type of study. So with this 6 heading, we will study in detail each of this 10 method. And now we will begin. So far we have studied various things. So actually now we will implement this 6 heading in the first method of study of homeopathic materia medica, or first way of study of homeopathic materia medica. The first method is anatomical schematic method. Now three words are there in this heading: anatomical, schematic. So anatomy means it refers to the anatomy. It refers mainly to the anatomy of human being. Why it is said schematic? Because there is a certain fixed scheme is followed while describing or while narrating the symptoms. That's why it is said anatomical schematic method. And this method was mainly introduced by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann. Or to just add colors into it, he will just say that it has been introduced by our great master, Dr. Samuel Hahnemann. So all of us know that Dr. Samuel Hahnemann is a founder of homeopathy, and most of the development, evolution of homeopathy, most of the subjects are evolved by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann. He was just a single warrior, or he was a great warrior in the 18th century, fighting all the opposite persons and carrying all this responsibility of developing homeopathy, of developing various subjects of homeopathy single-handedly till his last breath. He has lived his life about 84 years, and that is the reason why he said in final words are that I have not lived in vain. So whatever he has done for the development of homeopathy, it is the responsibility of newcomers to follow his path. So this method is basically introduced by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, and then various other authors like T.F. Allen. So T.F. Allen and C. Herring. So now all these words are very important. These are all persons are very important. This authors, this name will come again and again in front of us, and we'll have to hear it and understand it and memorize it, because these are the stalwarts of homeopathic medical. First is a T.F. Allen. So remember the full form, that is Timothy Field Allen, a very excellent contributor in the homeopathic materia medica. Then C. Herring is Constantine Herring. You must have studied all these stalwarts in the pioneers of homeopathy. You have to understand how all these things are managed by all these stalwarts. So remember these names of Dr. Hahnemann, T.F. Allen, C. Constantine Herring, and these two persons, Timothy Field Allen and Constantine Herring, we must go in front of them because of their Herculean task in the homeopathic materia medicum. So it is also popularized by Timothy Field Allen and Constantine Herring. Now, what is exactly the details of this method? Now, the details of this method is the various symptoms which are given by a drug prover. All these symptoms are arranged under different anatomical headings, or some authors or some books also arrange these symptoms under the anatomical order. They do not mention heading, but whatever arrangement is there, it follows a specific, it is related with a specific part or related with a specific organ. So at this point, I will take the advantage of all this technology, and I will demonstrate you the materia medica pura and Allen's encyclopedia and Hearing Guiding Symptom to understand what exactly is this anatomical schematic method. I will stop sharing, and I will again share with you some another important screen which is related with a homeopathic software. You just tell me whether you are able to view it. So this is, I'm sharing you a homeopathic software, Homeopath MD, and there is a specific feature in this Homeopath MD that it lists all the books of materia medica. So I will first demonstrate you how the anatomical schema is, anatomical schematic method is followed by Hahnemann. So in this two books we have studied, or in this method, what is the details of this method? The symptoms are arranged in a the symptoms of prover, which are given. All these symptoms are arranged under different headings, or some authors give the symptoms according to the anatomical order, but it is not according to the heading. So remember this. So we are studying anatomical schematic method, and there are two details of this method. One is a arrangement of symptom with heading, and arrangement of symptom without heading. So I will first demonstrate you materia medica pura, and in that I'm demonstrating you the homeopathic materia medica of arnica. Why I'm chosen arnica? Because that is the thing which we are going to learn. That will be my first remedy. And that's why I'm showing you this materia medica. So I will show all these three books. So these are three main important examples of this anatomical schematic method. One is a materia medica pura, another is encyclopedia of pure materia medica by T.F. Allen, and third example is the guiding symptoms of our materia medica. I have just opened all these three books and selected the medicine arnica. So first we will see materia medica pura volume 1 and 2. You must have listened all these names as a source book of homeopathic materia medica. So I will first open this arnica from homeopathic materia medica pura. Are you able to see it? Whether the screen sharing is proper? I have enlarged. So this is, I have opened you materia medica pura volume. I don't know in which volume. Probably it is a volume 1 by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, and this is the first medicine, arnica montana. So we'll just go through this arnica montana. So initially some introductory part is given, which details about the name, which details about the various provers, which details about the various names of the prover who has participated. Then see this is the first symptom which is listed, is of vertigo. Yes. During dinner, sudden vertigo as if he would fall forwards, giddy whilst walking, vertigo in the forehead, vertigo when she sits and leans the head forward. Then again, few more symptoms continue. That is vertigo. That means up to this point, these are the three symptoms of arnica related to this heading vertigo. Then, but see, there is no mentioning of heading. It is just the listing of symptom one by one. Then this is the second order is all the symptoms. If you can visualize, all the symptoms related to head is given. Confusion of head, vertigo and anxiety, stupefying headache in the morning, heaviness in the forehead, dullness in the head without any particular headache, burning in the head or aching, out without outstretching pain, burning in the head, then headache, then few more symptoms, aching and outstretching pain as from something soft in the crowd, withdrawing in the occiput and tearing towards the temple. Now just point to visualize that, see, there is no heading in this book of materia medica pura, no heading at all. The symptoms are just listed one by one, but usually these numbers which are given, these numbers suggest that they are related to type of organ. So this is the materia medica pura, and in that materia medica pura, the symptoms are given under the various anatomical or order. That means order is followed. The first symptom of head is given, even before that symptom of vertigo is given, then symptom of mind is given, and then all the body parts are listed but here no heading is mentioned. So remember this, understand this. Then Materia Medica, another example is Materia Medica, Encyclopedia of Pure Materia Medica, Volume 1 by T.F. Allen. Now again, this is an example of anatomical schematic method, and see the difference. The difference is that in the Encyclopedia of Pure Materia Medica, the headings are mentioned. For example, if you can see in this red font, enlarged size for you. First is introduction, then is all the symptoms of mind, excessive sensitiveness of mind, extreme disposition, bright, talkative, calm, right mood, indifference to everything. There is a huge list of all the symptoms related to the mind, and it is given under that red heading, mind. Then second heading is their head. All the symptoms of head of arnica is listed here. Then we'll further head is again huge list. Then next is a next red heading you can identify the eyes, and again the various symptoms of eyes are given. Next heading is ears. Next heading is nose. Next heading is face. So all these headings indicate what? All this heading indicates the anatomical part, and under that heading, what is listed is a symptom of that specific remedy, and this list will go on and on. So I will again revise this. In the first Materia Medica Pura, the symptoms were listed, but the order is anatomical order. First vertigo, then head, then face, then ear, but there was no headings. Now in the second example, by T.F. Allen's Encyclopedia of Materia Medica, it is the various headings are mentioned. This heading corresponds with the anatomical part of body, and it continues till the last heading of extremities appear. So these two examples. Now one more example we'll see, which is the hearing guiding symptom of our Materia Medica. Then I have opened for you arnica. See, I am enlarging now the font size. First, see this, the guiding symptoms of our Materia Medica by Constantine Hearing. And out of that, first volume is Arnica montana, and initially introductory part is given. Then the various introduction about arnica is given. Then starts the anatomical order. First anatomical order, mind, and then there's a list of symptoms. The list goes on. It is a very, and then second heading is sensorium. Sensorium means nothing but the sensations, and it is more in contest with vertigo. Then inner head, concentrate on the head headings. Then outer head, then sight and eyes, hearing and ears, smell and nose, upper face, just concentrate, lower face. We'll go back to now our PPT. I think you have understood. What point I want to explain is that these are three books, which these are examples of anatomical schematic method. Materia Medica Pura by Hahnemann, Hearing Allen's Encyclopedia, and Hearing's Guiding Symptom. So what they have done, they have arranged the symptoms under different anatomical headings, and these headings follow a fixed anatomical order from above downwards. And the difference in between these three books we have seen is that in the Materia Medica Pura, there were no headings, but the symptoms were collected, compiled with respect to that specific part, like head, like vertigo, like nose, like ears, etc. And while in the T.F. Allen's Encyclopedia and Hearing Guiding Symptoms, we have seen the various red headings, and this red heading corresponds with the anatomical part, and below that anatomical part, the headings, or below that anatomical part, the symptoms are recorded. So we'll go back to our PowerPoint. I hope you have understood. It is slightly difficult to understand, but when you will come to the college, then you will go through our library books, it will become more easy. But for the time being, you just try to understand what is the difference between this anatomical schematic method and these two methods. Then what are the examples, or what are the merits and demerits of this anatomical schematic method? Before that is an example that we have just seen. Materia Medica Pura by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, Encyclopedia of Pure Homeopathic Materia Medica by T.F. Allen, The Guiding Symptom of Our Homeopathic Materia Medica by Constantine Hearing, again Handbook of Materia Medica by T.F. Allen. So these are 4 examples of the Materia Medica which is studied in this anatomical schematic method. And what is the merit and demerit of this method? So merit is that it is an important source of our materia medica. Now, whatever materia medica is compiled, whatever materia medica is narrated by the various authors, the basic source, the basic foundation of all the symptoms is this anatomical schematic method. Another important advantage is that, or merit is that, it helps for the comparison at the level of organ. So if you want to compare the mild symptoms of arnica to some another drug, then what you have to do? Open the mild symptoms of arnica, open the mild symptom of say another drug, Rustox, and compare. You want to compare the joint or head symptoms of arnica, open arnica, refer to that heading, open Rustox, refer to that heading, and you can compare the symptoms at the level of mind, at the level of head, at the level of ear, at the level of nose. So this method, merit is that it helps, it aids for the comparison. Then it is also good for the reference purpose. Now, reference is what? The reference is what? You have taken a case, you have repertorized it. There is a group of remedies, and 2 remedies are there, arnica and the Rustox, and both remedies are very, very, very close to each other, very similar to each other, and you just want to find out the exact difference in between these 2 remedies. For example, it is at the level of say back level. Both these remedies are having backache, severe tardy backache, ailments from exertion. But what exactly is the difference between arnica and Rustox? If you compare, if you refer these source books, you will be able to understand what exactly is the difference, what exactly is the difference between 2 remedies. And usually the references are invited whenever we are in doubt, whenever there are some controversies, whenever we want to study a remedy in detail. So all these situations will demand references, good solid references, and this anatomical schematic method will come to the rescue. Then all this materia medicals study which are under this anatomical schematic method, they are good base to make the repertory. Repertory is what? Repertory is index of all these symptoms of homeopathic materia medica, and this index is very much required to practice homeopathy. But for the timing, you just remember that all this anatomical schematic materia medica forms the solid base, solid foundations for the various repertories which are further useful in the practice of homeopathy. Then, what are the demerits of this anatomical schematic method? Very important demerit is that it is impossible to grasp, to remember, to memorize all these symptoms of materia medica which are given under this head, this various headings. So if you compare, you can actually see this materia medica, even the head symptoms of arnica will be 100 symptoms. It will be very difficult to remember or grasp all this materia medica. That is the one demerit. Even the intelligent mind, the most photographic memory, highly accurate memorizing person cannot memorize it, and it is hard. It is impossible to grasp this materia medica. It is impossible to retain this materia medica in anybody's mind. You will require constant references, constant reading of all this materia medica. And one very important disadvantage, demerit of all this methods is that all this method will help us to learn the medicine. We'll learn each and every symptom. We'll learn each and every symptom related to the path, but we will be missing the image of that remedy, which will be missing the essence of all these remedies. So that is an important disadvantage of this particular